Alright guys, so the new Piggy update is officially out, and it added in, well, book 2 of the pages. Now, if you haven't yet completed book 1, you're gonna need to do this first. And if you don't know what this is, well, basically hidden around each single chapter, there are gonna be 6 pages that you have to find in the map. And you have to go in order. So you have to do chapter 1 first, and then chapter 2 unlocks, and then chapter 3, then chapter 4, so on and so forth. And once you complete book 1, then book 2 unlocks. It just came out right now. And it's the same thing in book 2. In each chapter, there are going to be 6 pages that you need to collect in order to unlock the lore, the little text here for each chapter. Now, the point of doing this is once you unlock all of them, we will be getting a brand new secret skin that you will only be able to get if you get all the pages. So if you haven't completed book 1 yet, I'll have a card on the screen. You can go, you can complete book 1, then come back to this video. But in this video, I'm going to show you where every single page is in book 2. So let's get started with chapter 1, the alleys. So I managed to take a screenshot of where most of these pages are, but some of them I'll have to use clips from my live stream. But anyway, in alleys, the first note here is right inside of the cafe area. It's a note on the wall. The second note in alleys is right here inside the museum area where a lot of the keys spawns, the blue key, the mop. It's right there on the wall across from that little chair. The third one is actually inside of the orange key room where the scissors spawn. It's right there on the wall at the bottom. You can't miss it. The next note in alleys is actually inside, I believe this is this the blue key room where you get this is the blue key room. You use it, the blue key on the door here, open this up, and it's right across from the laundromat right there on the wall. The next note is inside the screwdriver room where you actually have to use the screwdriver to open the door. It's sitting right there on the wall. And then the last one in the alleys is actually in the final part, the final hallway, right when you go through that door. It's right there on the wall on the left. So you'll have to put the code in, open up the door, and then it's right there. And then that's going to be it for chapter 1 alleys. Let's move on to chapter 2. So for chapter 2, the first one is right there in the green grass room where all the grass is. I believe you get the orange key in this room. It's sitting right there on the wall. Can't really miss it. Next one is inside of the eyeglass shop. It's right there on the wall. You can see it next to the cabinet right there. Next one is actually in the middle of the map outside of the eyeglass shop right there in the middle. You can see it right there on the wall. Next one is up where you have to put the ladder down to get up to the second floor where you get one of the batteries, and then it's right there by the crates. Next one is inside of the shop, that little cafe in chapter 2. It's right there on the wall behind one of the chairs. And then the last one is actually right by where you spawn in when you go into the green room. It's actually right there by the metro sign on a little post, one of these little columns. You can't really miss it. It's right there. And that's chapter 2. Let's move on to chapter 3. So the first note is right where you spawn on a tree. You might have to walk back a little bit, but it's right there on the tree where you spawn in the refinery. Next one is inside the room on the left when you go into the refinery from the front door. It's right there with the red pipes. You recognize this room. It's right there on the wall. Next one in the refinery is in the kitchen. Can't really miss it. It's right next to the stoves on the wall right there. The next note is actually inside of the room with the yellow safe. It's on the wall right there. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there, right there in the middle. Next one is on a cabinet right next to the area where Pony jumps into the vent and becomes a little sus. It's right there on the cabinet. And then the last one is inside the orange key room where the purple safe is. It's by a filing cabinet right there on the wall. That's chapter 3. Let's move on to chapter 4. So the first one here that I found was actually inside the room with the radio on one of the little bulletin boards. Again, kind of hard to see depending on what graphic settings you're on, but it's right there. Next one is inside the room with the treadmills. The one I believe the blue key room, you open it up and then it's right there. There's the treadmills and can't really miss it right there in between them. Next one is actually by where you spawn in. It's inside of Zizzy's room, I believe. It's on one of the little cabinets right there on the side. The next one is in a corner in the cafeteria. You'll need to open up the cafeteria with the red key, and then it's in a corner by one of the posts. And then the last one on this map is actually on the very bottom, the first floor, right before the exit on one of the posts. Again, kind of hard to see, but it is there. And that's chapter 4. Let's move on to chapter 5. So the first one, chapter 5, is by where Alphys spawns in, by where the bot spawns in. It's right there on the wall. The next one is on the side of one of the, I don't even know what that is, one of the machines that clears out the sewage from the bottom of the sewer. It's right there on the side. Can't really miss it. The next one is actually by where you spawn in by, I believe this is the purple safe. It's right there in the green sewage on the ground. Next one is inside the plank room where you use the orange key. You put the plank down. It's on the side right there by Z and Zizzy's sisters. The next one is inside of the room with the yellow safe, the one with the insolence eye, the little classroom in the bottom of the sewers. It's right there by the door going into it. And then the last one is inside the blue area where you get the white key, where Z and Zuzi meet you downstairs. It's right there on the wall. And that's chapter 5. Let's move on to chapter 6. So the first one, chapter 6, is by the fence where you rescue, not Felipe, I forget his name. You know who he is, the cat dude, Feliz Navidad, something like that. It's on the side right there. The next one is inside the blue key room by a forklift on the bottom right there. The next one is inside the big room with the conveyor belt. It's laying on the ground right next to some stairs. The next one is inside of Willow's room on the wall next to a table, so you will need the orange key in order to get this one. Now this one's very bright because of the graphics, but it's laying on the ground next to the beds by the spawn, where you get the red key right where you spawn in. It's just laying on the ground right there. And then this one's a little bit weird. The last one here, you're gonna need to use the shovel to actually save Kitty. Is that Kitty? I think that's Kitty. Yeah, it is Kitty. Save Kitty with the shovel from the rocks, and then underneath Kitty is the note she was just kind of sitting on. That is chapter 6. Let's move on to chapter 7, the port. So the first note here is right where you spawn in. It's on the little wooden seat. You literally can't miss this. It's literally right where you spawn. The next one is inside the lighthouse on the back of the bed, or the front of the bed, right there, little headboard of the bed. The next one is actually inside the room, the orange building, I believe. You use the red key to get into this room. This is behind the stairs. There's going to be a little cabinet, and on the side of that cabinet is going to be the page. Right next to one of the dumpsters in the back of the map is going to be this note. It's on the green building right next to one of the dumpsters in between the fence and the building. Next one is actually on some crates right there behind the lighthouse, on some crates right opposite the insolence eye. And then you can't really see this one because of the graphics settings, but if you come over here, you'll automatically collect it. It's actually sitting on the seat right here. You're going to need to use the harpoon gun to get up to the lighthouse, and then it's actually just sitting right here. It's not shown in this picture, but it is right there, I promise. And that's chapter 7. Let's move on to chapter 8. Again, these pictures are going to be a little bit bright because of the graphics, but the first one here is actually sitting on some red lockers. Once you go down into the boat, it's on the side of some lockers. The next one is actually downstairs where the generators are. Once you clear the water out with the screwdriver, it's sitting right there next to some generators. The next one is inside the room with the radio, right there on the wall opposite the radio. The next one's actually right here. Again, you can't miss it because I automatically collected it. As soon as you go near this one, it will automatically collect, but it's sitting right there on the back of, I don't know what that is, some computers. This is like the captain's quarters right there. Next one is all the way upstairs on a plank on the top of the boat, right where the yellow safe is, the yellow key safe. And then the final one is on the back of the escape crate, the green crate right there on the back. You can't miss it. And that is chapter 8. So once we complete chapter 9, 10, 11, and 12, we will unlock that new skin, so it is very important that you get all of these. And once you collect all these, be sure to go back through and read all of this. There's a lot of very crazy lore in here that I will be making videos on. Like, for example, right here, this sequence right here reveals that Mr. P wasn't actually responsible for the virus. Mr. P didn't actually cause this. There's a bunch of crazy stuff in here. You're going to want to read through it, but that is going to be it for this video. If it helped you out, be sure hit that subscribe button. Keep using star code Real Creek. You're going to want to be able to get that skin when it comes out. So make sure you do all this. And thank you very much for subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.